Welcome to the Fire Family Collective podcast, the show dedicated to supporting the unsung heroes of the fire service, the wives, partners, and families who hold down the fort while their firefighters serve. Hello, Fire Family Collective. This is Heather. I'm back to host another podcast. Today we have Edgerlyn and Maria. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Edgerlyn. I am a firewife. My husband is a captain at Vista for over 15 years. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Maria. I've been a firewife for 10 years. My husband is Patrick, and he is a captain with the Vista Fire Department.
Awesome. Thank you guys for being here today and making the time to kind of share with us. Today's topic, we're kind of talking about sisterhood, community, and finding the connections that we need to survive this crazy fire life. Let's go ahead and let's go straight into your guys' kind of story of how you guys met. I know we kind of talked about it on the phone previously, but your kind of wild ride into fire wife life, Maria.
Sure. Well, I met Edgerlyn when I moved from Costa Rica to the US. Kind of maybe before that when I was dating Pat, probably 11 years ago. And once I did move here 10, almost 11 years now, Edgerlyn made sure I was feeling welcomed, included. She would always call me, text me, see how I was doing, go out every other weekend. And yeah, so I guess she kind of knew what I was getting into. I did not know what I was getting into. I just thought I was just getting husband and a new family and new group of friends, and turns out that was not the case. I got dual shock. I got culture shock from, Latin American culture to the American culture. And then there's the fire culture shock where all of a sudden you are by yourself for 2 days, 3 days in a row in a country where you know nobody. Adrenaline kind of became my best friend, my family, my sister. She kind of um grabbed my hand and she never let go. And 11 years later, here we are. She's been with me through thick and thin, and my highs and very low lows.
Edgerlyn, what did you see that brought you to reaching out to Maria and kind of helping support her? What was kind of calling to you?
Well, I mean, outside of the fire, right? Because she didn't know anything about it. She was just as curious as I was with the friendship. And so I think what makes our relationship good is that she was also willing to put into it. So it was a mutual relationship. And Maria, you had so many great things to say, but it literally was just two people wanting to connect. And it wasn't even because I saw her as initially as a fire, significant other, but she was an individual that also wanted to connect and have a friend. And she put herself out there, and I invited and I received, and it was like this sort of dance of, like, you meet me here, I meet you there, you share this with me, I share that with you. So there was a lot of participating and engaging that has
From both sides, it sounds like.
formed this 11 11-year friendship.
Yeah.
Maria, what I want to hear a little bit more of like kind of the culture shock of like, were you dating Pat when you were in Costa Rica and he was here in America, or what was that kind of like? And what was like that shift into coming to America?
Yeah, we dated long distance. I met him during his last day on his trip in Costa Rica. So I basically just saw him in person for 12 hours and then he flew back and we just stayed in touch through FaceTime, text messaging, calling. We went back and forth and then yeah, when we decided that we wanted to get married, it was very fast. It was within a year and I want to say 3 months, 5 months, a year and a half,
Yeah.
probably. And then the shock is that in Latin America, you don't move out of your parents' house when you go to college. You just live there until you get married and then you move out. Um, so even though you think you're independent, you're not independent. You're still surrounded with family.
Yeah.
Plus, Latin America families are very big, and you always have your mom, your dad, your sister, your aunt, your cousin. Everybody's in your house, every
You have
weekend.
a big support system right there at home.
Correct. And I had other traditions. We would always go every Sunday to my grandma's house, and all my uncles, aunts, and cousins, we would go there for dinner every Sunday. And I moved here. My mom and dad stayed for a week, and then they moved back. Patrick went back to work, and then I'm by myself. And now I don't have my support system. I'm don't have my primary language,
Yeah.
I can't speak Spanish with anybody. Um, Now I'm the head of the household, like I'm responsible for a house. I'm responsible for grocery shopping, cleaning, all of these things that I had never taken into consideration when I was living in my mom's house. Somebody else would take care of that. Now,
Yeah.
that was all on me. Plus, then having my husband come in and out of my everyday, you know, um, schedule, I would
Yeah.
say. And then also when you move into this country, you're not allowed to work for 6 months because you're in background checks. You need to get your green card, you need to get a work permit. So you're sitting at home and you have a lot of time in your hands and you're thinking like, well, what am I doing here? I'm by myself. Who do I know? I want to work. I can't work. I want to see X, Y, and Z, but now I can't. It's like kind of very weird. And all of a sudden it hits you like a train wreck. And that's when you, being new in the fire department, need to be vulnerable and reach out and say, hey, I feel alone. Hey, I'm struggling. Hey, I miss my family. Hey, um, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what a strike team is because I think Pat went in a strike team a couple of months within our marriage, and well, it really made sure all my needs were met. I remember also a different firewife made a joke, and she's like, "Just think it as you're living during World War I, and you're waiting to receive a letter. You'll not hear from them in a long time, and that's
Yeah.
okay. If you hear news, it's bad. If you don't hear news, it's good." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I
So
guess I'll write
it
some."
kinda sounds like when you moved here, your whole world kind of flipped upside down, and it's, like, completely different, and then getting thrown also into the fire life and strike teams and him being gone, and then you not being able to work, so then
Right.
you're kinda stuck just kinda figuring out and finding and then going from a house full of people who's there's that connection there to he's gone at work for how many days, and, like, you have no one here. Um, Adrilan, what was, like, the beginning of your guys' friendship, like? Could you, like, describe kinda, like, what I guess it was like?
It was a lot of one-on-one. Um, I think because there was a lot of things that Maria just didn't know, right? Because she was out of her elements. It was that intentional time to get to know her. Um, I think that made a big difference in our relationship. Like she mentioned, there were a lot of things that she didn't know. And in fairness, it was Maria's incredible um, ability to be vulnerable and trust someone who she barely knew. Right. And so there was that reciprocity where she would tell me something vulnerable about her, and I too would do the same, and we just built our trust and friendship that way. So I think there was a lot of, yes, hand holding, but in a way that was um not because like, hey, I know everything. Let me show you the ropes. Let me show you the way. But it was hand holding in that I was trying to provide security with Maria in that, yes, there will be moments where she was going to be alone. Like I couldn't be there for her all the time also, right? Because I have
Yeah,
my work, my kids too, and my own home to kind of keep in stock with food or whatever, but letting her know that when she does need me, I will be there, but she needs to tell me what she needs too, because it needs to be known, and I can't keep guessing because I'm gonna guess it wrong. And I think that that goes also the same way with your partner, right? Like you have
yeah,
to be able to vocalize what you need so that your needs can be met. So I
yeah.
think in just relationship wise, you have to always, advocate for yourself and be honest and be vulnerable in order for people to show up in the right way, in the way that you need them to.
I really like how you said that, yeah. Um, so it is I think you're right with the open communication to be able to, because 'cause we're not mind readers, we can't read each other's mind, we're
Mhm.
all kinda individual, we like different things,
Yeah.
but to be able to be vulnerable to each other, to be able to openly communicate and not have it sounds like there wasn't really set expectations, more so that giving and receiving towards each other. Does that sound
Mhm.
a bit right? Or
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's morphed too the way that Maria and I maintain our relationship and maintain our
Yeah.
communication, right? Like she is a lot more independent now. She's like working, she's in, she has different circles also. So our frequency is not always as much as before for us connecting and hanging out. And that's okay, right? That's where we want our relationship to grow.
Maria, could you tell us a little bit more about how you found independence after, coming into the States and, after waiting that 6 months and kinda what you've done to find yourself in all of this?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is knowing who you are, what you bring as a person to the table, not losing your values, your principles, and your sense of being like I'm Maria, these are my likes, these are not my dislikes, these are my hobbies. And so just baby steps, once I got that work permit, then started to apply to jobs and get back on a role where I was before I moved here. I was a preschool teacher for 15 years and just kind of started working and building um my professional self again. And as time moved on, I met different um firewives. There everybody has a different personality, so you kind of like um gravitate towards people who have a similar mindset, or you know, like
Kinda align with
to
what you're
joke and don't
you
take offense on things like your jokes, or people who are like to say things straightforward as you do, and also like Adrenaline said, who will not take offense that if you can't answer the phone right away, or a text message, it's you're not gonna think like, oh, it's just they don't like me. People like, have things going on in their life, but you're always gonna make time for your friends and people who are reaching out for you. So establishing other connections within the fire department and outside the fire department. And after COVID hit, I found a passion for law. So now I'm a paralegal. I've been a paralegal for 6 years. So I shifted from being an educator for more than 15 years to now being in the law world, which I absolutely love, and kept my hobbies going. I made sure to always have time for whoever needs me within the fire department, make sure I still get some time to see Adrenaline and see other firewives at least once a month, get together, catch up. Hey, how's life? How's everything going? And mainly to just like enjoy each other's time and have a good time, but also touch base if somebody is struggling. It's like, hey, like, I'm having issues with this, like how have you tackled this? um and yeah, that's how I
yeah.
found my feet
It's
after
like
moving here.
it's like life is this juggling game that we're all in. We have to find the right, like, kind of balls to juggle of life, of, like, partner, friendship, work, finding yourself, um, kinda all of that. Adrenaline, like, what is your independence out of this too? Yes, what does that look like for you?
Um, it's I would definitely categorize myself as a very independent person. Sometimes I'm too good at it, where I have everything planned out. I'm like, that's how I deal with my anxiety, is I like to take control and plan uh, every detail, right? And I like to troubleshoot, and I just like to be prepared for anything. And sometimes, like I said, I'm too good at being independent. Like when my husband comes home, he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "Oh, we're busy, and we have A, B, and C, and we have to go do this and do that." So sometimes, don't do that, right? Like sometimes I'm too good at it that I'm like, "Well, great if you can make it. Great if it's all right if you don't." But that's not like fair to him, because he's trying to get into our routine and our groove. So like you said, it has to be just a balance um of independence, and when to cut stuff out of your schedule, and just really prioritizing like what's important to me, and that's family. So just really making that the center of how I schedule, how I um, schedule work, how I schedule my time with my friends, how I schedule my personal hobbies, with just, a center, and for me, that's
Yeah.
family.
Um, what does your guys' friendship look now? What, 11 years later?
Oh,
I
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like
It's busy, it's hectic, and literally, I will text, or maybe I'll get a call from Marie on during my commute to work. So from
likewise.
like yeah, from
Yeah.
like coming to visit her and having dinner when she'll be like home alone, to now it's, like it's these quick check-ins, and that's okay. If we make it work, I think, and that's. we schedule stuff. We'll see each other. We'll text each other like, "Are you going to the Christmas party? Are you gonna get? What are you wearing?" You know, like so. Those
Yeah.
are like exciting when we do actually see each other. It's so much more of a treat and a total treasure.
What would
Yeah.
you say, like, the key building blocks to finding friendship or connection in this lifestyle? What would be some key building blocks?
I would say communication. I mean, that's very key in any relationship, whether it's friendship, it's with a spouse, with a sibling, or, parent. It's just open communication, um, trust, um, vulnerability that I trust you if I'm coming with you with this very vulnerable time. Um, you're gonna, respect it. You're gonna, just keep it to yourself. And likewise, like you can count on me to come when you're struggling, and this is just gonna stay between us. It's a vulnerable time for you, and I'll respect it and honor it and help you through it until you're back on your feet. Um and Yeah, it has to be, it's a two-way street. I give to you what you give to me. Like I give communication to you, you give that to me. I give you trust, you give it to me. I give you vulnerability, you'll give it to me. But I think the takeaway for us is we need to reach out to each other. I know Adrenaline has a more hectic schedule. She has kids. I don't have kids. I have more time. um, but it's just making that little effort, like we said, like now we just find 5 minutes during our commute to work, like call each other, hey, how are you? How are things going? How's your weekend? Or things like that. Or I haven't heard from you in a long time. Like, do you want to get together soon? Whether it's just both of us, or do you want to like call X, Y, and Z, or let's try to,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's making that effort even if it's small. This little small, like, phone calls, the 5-minute calls add up to keeping the strength in the friendship.
yeah, yeah.
Um, why why do you think that, like, we in this community would need, like, friendship within the community? People who kinda get it or living similar lifestyles.
Um, because we don't have to catch people up, right? Like we can just get into our grievances, like you know what I mean? Like they that the isolation, right? The strike team. We don't have to get into the details of explaining why it is annoying for that because we're allowed to complain. We try to
Yeah,
be big girls, we try to be tough, we try to be big and courageous for our kids, and we try to be positive for our kids, right? We trying to mirror all these things that we want our kids to have, but we're human. We're allowed to have these negative feelings. Like what we do with it is that's the important lesson really. But we forget that sometimes. We can sit there and have these negative feelings, and we can express it, and we can express it to a fire wife where yes, she understands it. Like there's no like questioning of why you think it's annoying that there are hires, right? When there we should be fully staffed, right? like,
yeah,
like you don't have to explain why, like vacation might be canceled. Like where in
yeah,
other worlds, like no, you, you can't you can't cancel someone's vacations, like which
yeah,
technically we can't, but there's a little bit of like some gray areas, right, in the emergency response schedule, right?
yeah,
Um there's those those gray areas where you have to trade Christmas so you can have a birthday, right? Like there are things like that that people in our tribe, in the fire tribe, that just understand it, and we kind of have to play this game of like, okay, what day is important? What are we willing to give up? Where in like corporate world, no, you get the last 2 weeks of Christmas possibly off, and everybody gets to stay
Yep.
home. We don't have that luxury, and so I
Yeah.
think it's important for us to keep that connection with the firewives because we get it. We understand it on a level that not most people understand, and sometimes taking the time to have to explain it gets annoying, to be quite honest. Just to be
Yes,
plain and
it's a bit
simple, it
more
does get
frustrating
annoying.
now to explain this world than actually, like, living in it. Trying to explain
Yeah.
it to someone who doesn't quite get it can get a little frustrating,
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
like, over
And
and
then
over again for each person who doesn't get it.
yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then you
my
see other firewives that might be doing something right or the way that you love it, and you reach out and say, "Hey, how'd you figure that out? What's working for you?" Because they figured out something like a life hack that you want in on, you know?
Yeah.
So
I'm curious, what is maybe something that, like, you didn't expect going into this fire life of, like, maybe something that kinda sucks, and something that you didn't expect that's like, "Oh, this is actually pretty cool." Either of you. I'm like, what is I feel like because going into this, like, for me personally, like, as, like, supporting Jared, my husband, through all of this, has been like, we just, went into it with those rose-colored glasses on, and we're like, "Oh, this is great. This is gonna be a great career, and we're gonna have a family, and this is gonna be awesome." But then, obviously, we've seen some, negative sides to it, but also there's other sides where we can get those trades or, to get the kid's birthday off or something like that. So, what would you say maybe something that's like, "Oh, this is, like, a bummer," versus something that, "This is awesome?"
for
I don't
me,
think you really ever can be prepared for the life for the life
Yeah.
of like an emergency response. Because it's constantly changing, right? Like there's so much that changed during COVID. There's so much that's changed as we become more aware with mental health or sleep deprivation or and cancer scares and heart scares. There's always something that is changing within this profession, this field, that I feel like we can never really get ahead of it and really
Yeah.
prepare ourselves, right? I think what works for us in that sense is still doing our very best to prioritize our family and prioritizing our core beliefs and just making sure that whatever is happening outside, our main focus is preserving what we want to preserve, and that's our family and our core belief. And what's great about the fire service is definitely the family that we do get to do this job with and be in this lifestyle with. We've made really great connections with um, the people that are going through this with us through the hard times and the happy times. I think um, we've really bonded through great memories and even like really sucky memories. Like we've
Yeah.
really been bonded for life. And so um I definitely could not see ourselves doing anything else. Not that there's anything against, like people that work in office, but that's certainly not a field that I could
That's
see my
not it for
husband doing.
everyone.
He loves to serve, and so that's where he belongs. He's always served. He was in the military and he's always given himself to others. So I can't see him doing anything other than
Sitting in
that.
a cubicle doing paperwork.
Yeah, I just don't see him pushing paperwork like that.
Yeah.
He's a man
no.
of action.
Anything, you'd like to add, Maria?
Yeah, I think something that's, well, like you said, like something pretty sucky. It's like, um, when, like, you see the schedule, but you're like, well, that's not set in stone. Like, I know I may or may not see my husband on this day that he's supposed to get off.
Yeah.
It's that not knowing when they're gonna get forced or when they're gonna come home. Um, but then also you have all these people around you that have gone through that and understand your frustration, your sadness, against, like what Adeline said, a department that should be fully staffed and it should not be happening. Um, and yeah, uh, getting that fear of getting a call, hey, something happened, something went wrong during this call, or my husband coming home and saying, "Hey, I had a near miss. Like this almost happened to
Yeah.
me last night, and it was really cool." And you're like, "But how are you
That's
saying this was cool?" Like,
that's
you
very
almost got,
scary and terrifying.
yeah. But you also see it like that their eyes are like, so lively, and it's something that they're passionate about that nobody else would understand if they don't have that passion. Like, who in their minds would love to run into a building that's on fire? And,
Yeah.
you know, um, everybody would think like, well, that the person's demented. Like, you run the other way, you run away from it, you don't go into it. Um, and then all you can do is just like, yeah, support them and hope for the best and live your life. And then, like Adrenaline was saying, like everybody within this lifestyle knows what you're going through, knows what you've been through. And I think it's very important to pass like the baton to the new firewives and let them know, hey, we've been on your shoes, we've already walked this road. It's okay to feel this. It's okay to reach out. It's okay to feel scared. You don't have to keep it in, just because you're the new wife. Don't be shy. Like, it's okay to be mad. It's okay, just
Yeah.
just reach out. Because outside people, corporate people, like my friends back home, don't understand. Like, oh, how are you happy to have the house fully to yourself for 2 days? Like, are you happy you're not gonna see your husband for 2 days? I'm like, well, it's pretty nice to have the house and the peace and quiet. But how do you like to have your husband Monday through Friday, 5 to 10? Like, we all adapt to the lifestyle. This is normal for us now. This is, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's her day to day. It's her normal. It's her standard. It's crazy from the outside, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
We had that bond through the good times, but also through the traumas we've gone through. Um, the Adrenaline says the cancer scares, losing our friends to cancer, our family members, our brothers, sisters. And that's something that will tie us
Yeah.
to the rest of our lives. So,
It's
yeah,
very, yeah, important to have those connections and relationships and be able to feel supported in those
I
scary
think
moments.
it's a very special bond you'll never forge in any other area, any other profession. You'll never have this tight knit community of brothers and sisters. It's the family we chose and we love.
Let's go ahead and end it with a few questions, takeaways for maybe some newer firewives. Um, what would you say to a firewife with her husband going on his first strike team?
Definitely reach out to other firewives. it's not simple and it's not easy, especially if you're newlywed. Um, know that you want to hear from them for a full 24 hours. And when you feel nervous or scared that something is going wrong, reach out to a seasonal fire wife that you confide in or you feel comfortable talking with. And they'll tell you exactly what I heard from Edrelyn or heard from other wives. Hey, the 24-hour period is normal. They're out in the mountain. They don't have their phones with them. There's no service. You just need to trust that they're okay. You'll hear from them the next day. And if something goes wrong, somebody will reach out to you and you'll know exactly what's going on. And just try and live your life as normal as possible. If you like to go out for a run, go out for a run. If you like to go dancing, go dancing. Just don't stop your life. Don't freeze time just because they're not here. Just you need to keep on living because you are, yes, their wives, but you're also your own person. So you need to take care of your individuality.
Adrilan, what would you say to a firewife who maybe is feeling isolated in this lifestyle?
I think it's definitely easy for us to get into that um, kind of mode, especially for um, firewives that maybe live not close to other firewives, right? Um, but what I would ask them to do is just make the effort. It might require them to do a little bit more of the work, right? And that vulnerability, but I believe that it will be definitely worth it in the end. So put yourself out there, be courageous, connect in the way that you know, feel comfortable connecting, whether it's just text messages, maybe it's just through social media. Maybe you want to, you know, play it safe and you want to do it through social media and just connect in that way. That's fine. I promise you, especially I can only speak about this department. Like everyone is welcoming, and because someone, you know, who might have been here for a year or more didn't personally connect with you at an event, that's because, you know, that's they didn't get a chance to. But if you put yourself out there and introduce yourself and just say, "Hey, I'm so and so. We just, you know, we just started with this department," like you will be received well and in such a positive way. But you do have to sometimes be the one to take that first step. I know what's really cool about our fire department, and there are a lot of events that are not formal or serious that you can definitely participate in with or without your firefighter. And so there are opportunities for you to meet other firewives, other families. Um, so yeah, just make that courageous step and reach out and definitely, like I said in the beginning, like you have to let people know what it is that you are needing or that space that you need to be filled, and you have to vocalize it so that people can show up the way that you need them to, you want them to.
Awesome. Is there anything else you guys would like to add before we go?
I would like to add now that Adeline touched on if you feel comfortable reaching out through social media, um, don't compare yourself on what we post on social media because everybody just posts the nice stuff, the
Mhm.
trips, picture trips, or I don't know, even when we have formal events like the Christmas party, everybody seems you're jolly and happy. And then in the inside, you're like, well, maybe all these people are not going through what I'm going through. They're not struggling how I'm struggling. Um, but that's not true. We all are, but we just decide to always just show our best self
Yeah.
in social media. We've been working hard as to normalizing the mental health and the reentry. I've seen some wives posting more like, this is what reentry looks like for my husband. And sometimes they just put like a video or joke or something. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's normalize it a little bit. But for a newly firewife, maybe they just are like, oh, maybe this is something
Something's
just
wrong with me or something's
me
wrong.
and my husband, our marriage, or this is just happening to me. It's just like, no, I remembered one time calling Edrelyn and I'm like, Edrelyn, this is driving me crazy. He comes back and there's clothes everywhere. And she's like, oh, yeah, like that used to happen to me as well. I'm like, oh my God, I thought it was just me and him. And this was just like driving me crazy. Like, this just like little things that until you're vocal about it, you see it's just not you. And it's just like maybe not a perk or a problem, an issue.
Yeah.
Or
Just because
just,
it's not on social media doesn't mean it's not happening to all of us or differently
yeah.
in different ways. It's always I forget who, I heard someone say it's like rocking the canoe. They get out of the canoe, they leave for work, the canoe's rocking and we're there to drive it, and then they get back from work and it's rocking again once they get back in. So it's kinda finding how to balance the canoe. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, Fire Family Collective, for listening to us today and joining. I hope everyone has a great day.